Hello, good evening from the western province of the Kingdom of Norway. Today, I dey alone. I dey do a monologue because of several reasons. First and foremost, I dey do am as a professional teacher. I always dey on social media, but I think say very few people know say me na a professionally trained teacher. Me not a teacher wey get university degree without educational training wey dey team up before classroom for talk. I was trained to teach, to manage, and to administer education. It was a choice I made back in 1975. There has been others because people do not respect the teaching profession. Secondly, education not get the right priority way forget. I served Sierra Leone 13 years, and within that period there were others. Of course, at the same time, within that period, I rise to be the vice president of the Sierra Leone Teachers Union. And there was something of great impact where I got inspired with at that time, hoping for change the climate of education in Sierra Leone. But short-sightedness and a lot of other factors not being allowed that to happen. So today, I want to begin talk. Maybe I not go done this topic today, but I want to introduce the topic. And I want to make we all begin look at the kind of education we'll get in Sierra Leone and how it affect with development, how it affect with stability, how it affect everything about we life. Let me say Sierra Leone the Athens of West Africa, not true. We were at one time the Athens of West Africa. But that Athens of West Africa, it be help we? If it be help we, why is it that 63 and more years after independence, we still the struggle for firm footing? Why did I have to ask this question? The answer simply is education kind of develop the most important resource where a country get. Education now they develop the resource we no ever get for exhaust, except maybe by some natural disaster. Otherwise, the human race not get for exhaust from the face of the earth. Gold go exhaust, diamond go exhaust, bauxite go exhaust. All other resources go exhaust, but the human race no go exhaust. So it's the most important resource any country get. And it's the resource where any country will make progress for put the greatest priority on. This talk word again, not only for Sierra Leone, it's for all Africa. It's for all developing world. Development cannot take place where and when the human resource is not properly developed. And when I say where and when the human resource is not properly developed, it no mean say forget 2, 3 people out of a population we get high education. A country is not made by a selected few. A country is made by the collective participation of everybody within inside the country. I will repeat this. A country is not made by a selected few. You may have all the knowledge of your discipline in your head. because you're not going to know everything. You get your area where you sabi. If you're an engineer, you sabi one side of engineering, not everything about engineering. If you're a doctor, you sabi one side of medicine, not everything about medicine. If you're a teacher, you sabi one side of teaching, not everything about teaching. As I dey talk so, I don't know physics and chemistry. So I no go say I sabi physics and chemistry, but me na teacher and I'm a geographer. That one I know. So you see, every human being gets in areas of specialization, we get with limits. This is why for development to take place, it cannot be done by one person. It has to be a collective effort. One person can lead a collective effort, but one person cannot think for everybody. One person cannot act for everybody. This now one of the pitfalls where we get as a society in with social psychology. We dey personalize things them rather than we look at how we go empower everybody for make we all do what we able do. Because each human being has a natural talent that needs to be developed. And that natural talent, that's something we develop through the processes of learning where they end up in what they call education. Now get them clear. Learning now the process of acquiring knowledge, for gain knowledge, now in a learning. There is no limit to learning. As I say this now, may not a physicist, but if I get interest for learn physics, I can still learn them at the age of this so because there is no limit to learning. As a matter of fact, people them where they make gains in life. Now the people there where they learn a lot of things. Elon Musk may be a scientist, but ask him any question, he may answer it because he reads a lot. Bill Gates, the same thing. Mark Zuckerberg, the same thing. Bezos, the same thing. Successful people read and they read out of their area. But this is not what we are concerned about today. We are here today, we are concerned about how the education will get in Sierra Leone, the impact or effect we rate of development. Do we have the right kind of education in Sierra Leone? If we not get them, what you for do to make we get the right type of education or right kind of education? These are the issues them we are hope for make we cover tonight. If I'm not able to cover everything, maybe I will take time another day for come back with the same issue about how education they affect development. The individual, the nation, the community, the society, all they make progress depending on the kind of education we then get. If you go train Pekin only in the area of music, then he's going to be a musician. It do not mean say not to good training you don't give him. You don't give him a skill. Maybe he get a talent for be a musician. You help him for build that talent through teaching and learning of music. If you train Pekin for sports, he grow up for perfect time, You don't help them for developing talent. But there are a lot of things that were involved for make you able train that pikin, for make it sabi, for read music sheet. There are a lot of things were involved for make you train that pikin, for make you able learn the tactics of football and use them effectively. Nothing not dey happen in our life by accident. There is no magic. Mystery or miracles are created when you practice repetition. Repetition. But in the process, you get for do am for make the person wey dey learn understand every bit wey dey try for make e learn. What I mean by this example or this illustration wey I don give so, if you wan teach pikin simple things dem wey dem fit able understand, but if you use a language wey the pikin no understand, then you don make am difficult for the pikin for understand dem simple things dem dey. When we been small, we get plenty games dem wey we dey play. Dem games dem dey, little did we know they were part of science. When we been small, we been get people wey dey take wire, they make am, they make motor car, and can make dem Toyota lorry, dem thing dem dey. We been get people dem back wey dey take that poker, they make motor car. All of those were inventions or innovations wey we pay little attention to, because the kind of education we get not dey focus on developing the innovative thinking of the pikin, talent of the pikin. Education dey only teach we things dem wey dem want let we know so that we go become workers, not producers. I go repeat this. We education dey mostly teach we things dem wey dem tailored towards keeping us in colonialism. We have to work. After you get all your education, pass you wait, let them give you work. Because the kind of education now they allow you for be innovative and start an enterprise on your own. Until now the long-term effect we don't see. All the educated people today, they are more or less the misfits in society. And then they cause all the trouble for society. Because they have too many, you have too many people vying for too few jobs. So what's in like happen? Congo they come, hypocrisy they come, kind things them where normally we go consider as not moral behaviors. Now then would they see we educated people they engage in because of the kind of education. The kind of education we'll get. Then another thing about our education, it creates room for a lot of wastage. I will repeat it. Our education creates room for a lot of wastage. At the very beginning of this program, I say every human being has a talent that can be developed. But it depends on how the instructor or the teacher approach developing the talent of the person. Now that's going to make the person build that talent or enable build them. There are a lot of people who should have been great scientists in Sierra Leone. There are a lot of people who should have been great mathematicians. There are a lot of people who should have been master economists in Sierra Leone. But these people, maybe today, find them in the ghettos being in drug or substance abuse. Because we education system not flexible for say, let we look at the person in needs, let we understand the person in ability, and let we tailor them for meet the person so that we go building talent. Our educational system is not talent development concern. As a matter of fact, we educational system they do the opposite. They create unhealthy social psychology for we. Unhealthy social psychology in the sense that the few who they manage to go through that system, they feel they are better than the rest of the people that will not able to go through the system. It's never like that. Everybody getting talent, everybody getting learning pace. In this country where I am talking from, when I came here, I worked in the school system for 5 years. After having worked in the educational system in Sierra Leone for 13 years, I worked here for 5 years. That 5 years teach me a lot of things about how learner-centered education they work. In Sierra Leone, where education not learner-centered. It's centered towards getting theories and ideas in the head and coming to recite them. That's why most of the educated people in Sierra Leone can talk their discipline very well. But when it comes to application, they fall short. Most of the educated people in Sierra Leone, if the man tells you get PhD in physics, so God asks them, they talk. He will explain all the theories to you. He will talk them very well. But if you ask and say, this law of motion or whatever way you don't talk so, how can we apply it to build something we go benefit to it? I say, don't bring God a trouble come because it's a different world you have taken him to. These are the pitfalls. And the essence of education for any social group, be it a country, be it a community, be it a home, now for make what you una learn, una use them for add value. And how do you add value? The resources of the earth, air, water, fire, and your minerals, etc. If your education cannot allow you the know-how to combine this and get the most or maximum value from them, then that education is not worth its salt. Sierra Leone is a country where every district has a potential. Either you get a mineral resource or an agricultural potential, or even you get a flora and fauna potential. What do I mean by flora and fauna? The vegetation, the kind of trees, the kind of plants that would they grow. Some of them have medicinal values, some of them have other values. But we education system not make provision for make we think say, how can we research and use this to make economic gain? Some parts of the world, this cayenne pepper, what do they call rotifunk pepper? They don't reach the stage where then they make them into capsules. Then capsules, then they export them. People then they drink them. People with hypertension, diabetes, too much fat in them bloodstreams, and they drink them. because it helps for burn the fat between the veins and the arteries. It save lives. We have it in Sierra Leone. Do we know about that? No, because the educational system not concentrate on it in the day. Madagascar, they take this thing, that raffia, then they make a lot of products within the export. It's bringing economic gains to the country. It will bring economic gains to the communities. We have raffia in Sierra Leone. We have piassava in Sierra Leone. There was a time we've been be one of the greatest exporters of piassava because they use them for make brush and the other things then they. Now we get a situation where the world is talking against plastics. Are we doing research on those things? No, because our educational system does not allow us to think that way. These are the pitfalls of our educational system. It is stop we for develop because we dey think in a tunnel. I don't learn book, I get degree, and for find job, then for give me job. When you not get job, what's in the next thing? This government's not better. Not to government they give you job. Government for provide the environment for make job creation take place. And one of the environments that for make the government get an educational policy framework, let them get an implementation of the policy we go allow for make everybody develop in talent. Who that one be carpenter, he be carpenter. Who that one be mason, he be mason. Who that one be a dresser, he be a dresser. But doing that, you know, they do them for make mason or carpenter for just knock hammer and bench with nail. If you look at the competition in the world today, if you say you are going to train carpenters, train people who can produce goods or woodwork material or furniture we will be sellable in the global market. I will give you an example. Ghana, the Kente, that then country close, the cow get we country close than Sierra Leone. They don't succeed for make them global good. But when you go to Ghana, especially if you go to Kumasi, what do you see? You meet people and they then get big factory, what's a factory, not to that factory with man machine. That loom will be in the take make we country close now and then self they use. Then get the factory. That is, then get big building or then can make some, they make out just pan these CI sheets. They make aerated so people then go get air. Now they then they sit down, then they make the kente, different designs. Then they export them. That industry is employing a greater percentage of the people in that Kumasi region. We have country close in Sierra Leone. Are we concentrating on that? When I was young, we had a lot of cottage industries, and people let me they make baskets, let me they make this, then they make that. All that thing they don't disappear. Why? Because we education not tailor for encourage people them in those areas. As a matter of fact, we education it tailor for discourage people them from the areas then they. I remember as a small boy, people who came from farming communities were discouraged because people are not see them as relevant in society. And the farmer is as relevant as the engineer and the doctor because the farmer does not produce food, you'll die of hunger. This is the pitfall of our educational system will get. We get the elitist attitude. We are the chosen few. Told you they are chosen few. Every human being has a talent. Create the environment, then you'll see talents grow. Today, we've been small. People now they play music. People now they play football. We look at them as idols. Today, these fellows make more money than most of us who have PhDs. And they make million times than we who get education. Who they pass and bluff with. So have we not been limited by the way we see things? And the greatest problem with the educational system they produce for we is that we they use a medium of instruction where at certain stage in the education you know appropriate. You cannot take a child from a village whose side and they talk purely Mende or a village whose side and they talk purely Timni. You go put on a school, you begin teach them in English. The child not understand. There should be a transition period if you want the child to understand the teaching in English. There are several ways you can create this transition. Norway, the educational system creates such transitions. That's why in the Norwegian school system, in the classroom, you get in the primary and up to junior secondary, you get more than one teacher in the classroom. Why more than one teacher? Because now we say a Pekin come out Africa, if they don't reach up to class 7, they can't join school in Norway. If you go sit down class 7, then begin teach them in Norwegian, they understand nothing. So they traumatize the Pekin. It creates problems for the Pekin. So to avoid that, what in the educational system do? They make provisions. If a child comes from an area that is non-Norwegian, for at least 2 years, that child forget somebody where they talk in your own language for day with them in the classroom. The person for able to talk in your own language and the person for able to understand Norwegian. So whilst the teacher, they teach the other picking them in Norwegian, the special needs teacher, they with the picking at the same classroom, quietly, it explain to them, it translate to them. So gradually, the picking they build up the propensity for speak Norwegian. In Sierra Leone, what would they do all the time? We take picking them from areas that are non-English speaking. Even in Freetown, you wonder how they talk Creole. It's not good for make you take picture they talk Creole, you go begin teach her English. Because the fact that Creole and English very similar, the fact that the Pekin, it already mastered the Creole, it is fun and difficult for perfect the English. So instead, what see they talk, now something when a Creole but by English. Or if you want, you call them Kringlish. And that's what most people speak in Sierra Leone. Believe that. Most people claiming to be educated, real English than they talk. Because with system, not take cognizance, say, the language of a child is very important for make the child able get complete control of the concept where you want to teach them. You can teach any concept at any stage. You can teach Pythagoras theorem in the kindergarten. But another go teach them in English, then another go teach them the way I go teach them at senior secondary school. therefore break am down in a way where the pikin go see am as play, e learn from am, or wetin dem dey call the Maria Montessori approach. And na for teach am in a language wey the pikin understand, so that he go get the concept. Concept development in the human being, dey take place from the first day of birth up to age 10. If that pikin within that period no don get control over the concepts dem wey e for learn, e go find am difficult after that. And that's why we get a lot of dropouts in we school system. We medium of instruction. We need for look at am. Another thing we very important way we no dey take note of our society na the role of society in the whole education process. Everybody thinks say education has to be in the classroom, because for us, education means only the formal education. Put the pikin at school, let e go there. E get one man wey una no dey pay better. He haggard, e feeble like a walking skeleton. He get broken shoe. He go team up before the pikin. That alone has a psychological impact on the child's mind. Whatever that man says does not make an impact on the child. It's the man standing in front of him looks weird and broken. That man you call the teacher. A teacher should be somebody to be the example, to be seen as a product of what it is say. For be seen by the child as a manifestation of what it is say. If you go tell the pikin say education very important, then the pikin see you sus boss. You go ask, say, which kind of education this man get when he's sus boss? You know, talk am loud, but they think am. Because another thing we would fail for understanding Sierra Leone is that every human being is Homo sapien. It no matter the age. And the fact is, children think better than us adults because they get a free mind for inquire. We now, we minded overload with a lot of stress and other things. These are the pitfalls we have. And for as long as we not correct them, we dey create a society with gross imbalance. Imbalance, now we dey manifest in other areas. We call them politics, we call them protest. Why do people have to protest? If everybody gets something we get for do because in skill properly developed, if you go tell and say can go protest, you go say you idle. Yes, you go say you idle. Me, I get what you did. But when you create a society where if you get 5 million people, now 500 no more get education, where then they get benefit from, the rest sit down, they live on hopeless hope, then expect crime, expect protest, expect social unrest and things like that. So to solve the problem, why don't you create an educational system that will cater for every need? Like a simple solution. It's a very expensive solution. But if you do it in the medium and long term, it costs the nation less for spend on maintaining law and order. Less. Far, 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 far less. On the role of society again, the normal school not dey last more than 8 hours per day. Normal school, it lasts more than 8 hours per day. The rest of the 24 hours is with the society. And that rest of 24 hours day, the pikin therefore learn something. What do I mean by the pikin therefore learn something? Under normal circumstances, the Sierra Leonean only think learning is about reading books. No. Observation, what you hear, what you feel, all na learning. The home environment, the behavior of the parents, a learning environment. The community, the behavior of people in the community, na learning environment. So this is where society comes in. Has society helped education in Sierra Leone? If you ask me, I don't believe so. I believe so. As a matter of fact, I believe say society they contribute more for destroy education than for enhance education. So these are challenges we'll get for sit down and look and find solutions to. Why? Because children learn what they live. There is a famous poem written by a lady who don't die around 2005, who then call Dorothy Low Notler. It said children learn what they live. I see if I can able make this bigger. No, sorry. I think I've taken it off. Let me find a way to share it. Okay, fine. Children learn what they live. I would read this poem. It said, if children learn to live with criticism, they learn to condemn. If children learn to live with hostility, they learn to fight. If children learn to live with ridicule, they learn to be shy. If children learn to live with shame, they learn to feel guilty. If children live with encouragement, they learn confidence. If children live with tolerance, they learn to be patient. If children live with praise, they learn to appreciate. If children live with acceptance, they learn to love. If children live with approval, they learn to like themselves. If children live with honesty, they learn truthfulness. If children live with security, they learn to have faith in themselves and others. If children live with friendliness, they learn the world is a nice place in which to live. Are we doing that in Sierra Leone? Is society providing these environments for children to learn? I would advise every Sierra Leonean we hope for build a family. Let me find this poem. It's online. It's free. You can download them. They're all over the place. This lady, Dorothy Lo Notla, was a sociologist and an educationist, but she was more concerned about kindergarten education. So she did a lot to tell the American society, she is American, by the way, that our behaviors as elders get a lot for do with picking them than growth for become good citizens or bad citizens. And look at Sierra Leone, that will face the reality. There is so much violence in Sierra Leone today. There is so much hate in Sierra Leone today. There is so much dishonesty in Sierra Leone today. Did these things happen by magic? No. We created them. We, the adults, we created them. Can we correct them? Yes, we can. Our society needs good interventions for make people and begin learn wetin dem call moral fortitude. It's one of the things we lack. And it's worse with the educated class. We need moral fortitude because if we don't, we are producing by default rebels for tomorrow, dishonest people for tomorrow, warriors for tomorrow, people that will go make a political environment look very, very, very dangerous. Education has a lot to do with everything what they do as human beings. Because now the kind of education what they give, now they create the social and psychological environment where they print now we minds and what they grow with as adults. So there is a lot to do. It's not an impossible task. It's just for us to have the correct approach to education, make them open for everybody for building talent, and make sure say society do in your part. Because when they talk about education, in Sierra Leone, the minds and they only talk about or think of that school, that how they go school. No, you get three types of education. You get the school system when are the formal education. You get how not to school, like that now get into a shop, you get apprentice day where they train, when are the informal system. Then you get how not the non-formal, non-formal. And that's the one that has the greatest impact on the minds of people. I'm how they work on a treat. They see people and they take drug. That pikin they work on a treat. They see girl picking they dress semi-naked. That pikin wey sometimes e dey na house outside everyday na new man dey come to the mommy. Or daddy dey left house na morning, e no dey come till late na night, e no come sober one other things like that. Or everyday daddy and mama dey fight because the pa get too many girlfriends dem. All of this impact the minds of children. All of these impact the minds of children. So we therefore be very careful. Society therefore be very careful. If you want society for go before, you, the elder, therefore be very careful. You for be the example. If you, the elder, they team up in the morning, they curse, bad, bad curse. Or if you, the elder, they talk, say, I go kill, I go do this. You they make them normal for the picking for things, say kill na part of life. Curse na part of life. We have to try. Me people have to try. Hey, all this will depend. All this yagba, all man they Allah. Hey, this wrong go, that's right oh. It all came from the fact that we have the wrong type of education. We not give people the adequate skills for make all man get self-reliance. Secondly, the type of education they create the wrong socio-psychological environment where they make we not think straight. We dishonest, we aggressive, everything wrong with the way we they think. That's why when you go to social media, where Sierra Leoneans are gathered, it's all about talking at themselves. They don't talk to each other. They talk at each other. Because the education we then get, formal, informal, and non-formal, creates the mentality for what in the be so now. Especially so during that period of war, that 11 years of war. An environment of hate was created during that time. And after the war, nothing was done to do post-war trauma healing. So what do we have today? Young adults who are very much annoyed, very much annoyed. And we've seen extreme cases of them annoyances then they people and they get mind, then take weapon, then kill themselves, then they get mind, then take weapon, then slaughter their mama or papa. Some not they happen at salon, some they even happen outside Sierra Leone. As I dey talk, so the only brother who gets died in 2011. His son stabbed him 7 times. And this boy grew up in Sierra Leone at the time when the war was on. He was taken to America. No post-war trauma healing was done. He started doing things that are funny because now that's his happy. He's happy as a child. We go for wake up now, Sierra Leone. We go for wake up. Oh. This tens of West Africa talk, Lord, put them aside first. Lord, ask we self. What is our development needs? How do we tailor our education for meet with development needs? How can that impact stability in the country? How can that impact security in the country? If we look at it from that picture, then we ask, what do we need to do to get it right? I think if we take that approach, then we go begin change our education for meet we needs. All this talk about development of human capital, we have not even started. Let us be honest, we haven't even started. And the next side of the story about education, please, can we stop politicizing education? Since independence, every government don't make politics out of education. Education is a right, it is not a privilege. Education is for every human being because even the religion the way they practice, then tell we say, go ye in search of knowledge. The Bible mentions that about 50 something times. The Quran mentioned that in 5 surah them, the relevance of knowledge. And when we talk about the relevance of knowledge, education they talk about. Why did these religious scriptures emphasize on knowledge? Because they know say na through knowledge you dey develop people and skills. Na through knowledge you dey develop the ability for mankind for fulfill the divine wish. We say we for corner this world and take control of this world. Not by going to sit in an office to steal money. They give you the power for achieve that divine will. When you get your skill, if you're a basket weaver, you're able to make basket in a way where they sell them and make profit. You have taken dominion over the world. If you're not tailor, you're able to design and sell and make profit. You have taken dominion over the world. Anything what you're able to do, where they express you talent, you I am. Therefore, make people and say, okay, we need this man in good, we need this man in service. Then you don't take dominion over the world. This is what our educational system is not doing. It's not. So we have to do a lot of rethinking in Sierra Leone. We therefore look at where educational policies and how they affect development. We therefore look at where educational system, how they affect our economic growth. We therefore look at the perceptions of learning, with perceptions about learning and being educated. We have to do a lot of revisions on this. You are not learning to come and dominate people. You are learning to be part of a collective of diversity. We're able to produce goods and services. Why do we need to produce goods and services? Because now when we produce goods and services, now in development they take place. That process what they call development, not to build us buy mutoka. Now part of it, but not to him. Development is about the ability for sustained consumption. If you create the environment through education, we're going to produce goods and services. Then everybody gets a wage or an income. We go buy the goods and services. Then you begin to talk about development because for every time people produce goods and it's sold in the market, wealth is created. That wealth over time grows, and so it impacts even the earning capacity of the people. If now somebody not able to earn $100 per month, if we begin to production of goods and services, we get market value, we export them. The company where they work for, let's say the company may start with 10 million. Then by the next 5 years, that company they talk about 1 billion. The workers have a right to ask the employer, say, "Bo, buddy, we don't work, we don't get money. You say, "Oh, get small more." Then wages go increase, income go increase, consumption go increase, demand go increase, supply go increase. Then production will be sustained. But when you cut this off, because a few people have the education and they are the only ones earning good income, the rest don't have, then there's no consumption. And as far as this consumption no dey, development no dey take place. I'll take a simple example. We dey talk say we get 8 million people in a salon. Fine. 8 million people, almost million able buy a good pair of shoe every 3 months. That's a good brand new pair of shoe every 3 months. That we take them from that basic. I'm not sure it's up to 1 million. Now it makes second-hand things them very popular in Sierra Leone. We are a dehumanizing fact. If we create an environment where everybody gets a skill where they use for earn income, we increase the buyers of a pair of shoe to 5 million out of 8 million. That's sustained demand. They make anybody who they make shoe, they go and go open factory in a salon. But as it is now, nobody now they go open factory they for make shoe. They buy shoes. Let alone you talk about producing television, producing cars, etc. Look at them pipe dreams here working gets now we head. Because our educational system don't make we they think funny. Therefore, come down to earth. We are floating in space. Now come down to earth and begin to ask the relevant questions. What do we do to maximize talent development so we go get more consumers in our society? Because everybody will able using talent for produce goods and service, you don't create a situation where there will be exchange of goods and services. And the exchange is money. People use money as a medium of exchange. So people will be earning more. And because they're earning more, they have the capacity to spend more. These are the practical sides we are not looking at. Why? Because sometimes most of what we learn are the concept we sabi, we can recite them. But for explain them in simple ways like how they do so, boku no sabi. Therefore, begin think non-linear, out of the box, to make we understand a lot of things. And the simpler we understand these things, we pass on to people them, the better it will be for we. The better it will be for we. And we need to do some of these things very fast. We need to do some of them things very fast. We careful look at our education, the impact we economic growth, and at the same time, we careful ask ourselves, we get we cultures, we get everything. Is that part of our educational system? No way, no way. And get a ministry of culture. No way. Then they teach the Peking culture from kindergarten upwards. Yes. And you foreign away Canada, then they teach you the culture, they take example. There are certain jobs in this country, you cannot get them if you don't show a 60-hour credit in Norwegian culture. There are certain, there is, no, it's not to certain self. The university, if you are not born and brought up in Norway, you're not able to enter the university if you not show proof of you study of the Norwegian culture. Valued in culture. We we don't throw we culture away. Everybody don't be English. Who don't want to be Chinese? Who don't want to be American? Even with music now, most of the musicians now they make sense anymore. In those days, we been get Super Combo, get Sabano, get Agbata Jazz, we get Giral Pine, Giralopino, and the Heartbeats. In the 60s, it started Afrobeat. This Afrobeat where Nigerians and they make money from started in Sierra Leone, Giral Pine, Giralopino, and the Heartbeats. I listened to them as a boy. One time, they can play in Afrobe Road, Conry Hotel, then Conte, the hotel by Bombay Street. I not been going inside because then they pick or they go pan anything there. But we've been hanging at do listen then they play. From that time, then left Salone, then go Ghana, other places. He ended up in Calabar. It was in Calabar that he mentored fella Ransom Kuti and Nicola Pukuti, who make Afrobeat popular. So it came from him. One of in percussion is Francis Foster. He's still in Ghana. He played with this man we play Graceland, Paul Simons. He played percussion. Today, we see Nigerian boys are making money from it. Our musicians are aping American music. Oh, wow, oh, wow. What is that? Is that real music? It's not because we education system make provision for build up the talent. I went to the grammar school. We had music classes. We had carpentry. Today, we don't have these courses in schools anymore. How do we expect to develop? Is it everybody that is going to learn about Napoleon Bonaparte, who used to drink whiskey and kill his own European brothers? They will take and make serious thing. We not they teach you picking them, but their own culture. We they learn European culture, learn European English. Then we talk about Ivy people. They are the chosen few. Told you a chosen few. Go to Europe. If you think you are part of the European culture, come to Europe. The white man sees you as a baboon. They mock you quietly. We therefore try for be we self. We cultures then get a lot of skills where we need for tap into and build into profit making industries. We left them who and go be something else. There is a lot to talk about education. I am 1 hour, 5 minutes now. As I said before, I'm not going to done this topic today because I not only want to talk about the things that were wrong about education, I want to also talk about some of the things that we need to do. And I don't want to do them in a rush. So I go ask that we end the program today. I'll come with another segment next Wednesday. We can look at what needs to be done, especially, most importantly, in the area of funding education. Why? Education is a very big investment because you are putting money into a project where maybe they take 16, 20 years before it mature. But when that project mature, the quality of product where they get, it transforms society for a lifetime. This is one of the pitfalls we have had since independence. Governments since independence have never sat down to do a proper assessment of where educational needs and what you get for cost for fund them. They'll come and tell you we are using 22% of the budget on education. Yes, you can use 100% of the budget. Is it enough? Is it enough? 22% of zero is equal to zero. 100% of zero is equal to zero. So let us begin to be realistic. Let us look at what can be done. How can we mobilize capital? How can we mobilize resources? And part of that thinking of mobilizing resources will for exclude external donations by people who are non-Sierra Leoneans. Nobody on earth will give the government of Sierra Leone enough money to fund education. We want to believe, we want to live. Because if we take, I go do all the example there in the next segment. If we take an assessment of the educational need, according to the statistics who are available, the present statistics, they point say 60% of the population they below age 25. We mean say most of them still they in the learning zone. If you take 60% of the population, then you look and say, okay, let's put $1,000 per learner per annum. If we calculate that, they run into billions of dollars. Now that make I say, let we wait next week. Let come because I want with data. I want with data. Let we discuss. Let we see. Let we begin understand. Say there is a long way to go, but we can go there. Sierra Leoneans can mobilize the resources to educate their children. Yes, we can. But we need for build trust. We for trust the one they in government, then for trust we. Then we can mobilize the resources. I'll end it there for today. Thank you very much for listening. Next Wednesday back at the camp with this education thing, we are coming to look at how do we fund education and what practical approach we need for take for make education meet with development needs. Thank you very much for listening. On Friday, me and me co-partner go come again, Mr. Imran Toure. Today I tell am say let give excuse, let me wan come because I want to come and talk as a professional teacher. I'm not only a professional teacher, I'm also an administrator and a manager of education. I was trained for that. Thank you very much. Do ya una help we all build this network? Una not subscribe it, subscribe, share them, encourage people and let them subscribe. On this network, we don't talk politics. If we get for talk anything connected with politics, not with malice, we dey talk them in the interest of Sierra Leone. Because here, Sierra Leone comes first, nation first. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. We go talk on Friday.